Okay. All right, here we are once again Sunday night. Hillary has working technology, so that's a good thing. She has been driving all over the state lately, so she's going to tell us a little bit about her travels, and that is what led us to the name of this particular episode.
I would also just like to add that there was one live that we did where my audio wasn't working. And so I just sort of sat in the background and watched, but I felt like it was working on my computer, so we couldn't figure out what the deal was. Well, the other day, Will and I got on here to like mess around with some stuff, and he was saying that the audio wasn't working, and we found out that it was just because it was muted on his computer. So
So Hillary decides to fire me right under the bus. That's a good start to this episode.
well, you mentioned my technical difficulties, and so I just need to stand up for myself a little bit here. But we did. So I got on. We were on here trying to figure out how to share pictures so that you're not just staring at us the whole time. But we did. I went on a mini trip to Libby earlier this week, and so I tried to take some photos to share with you guys. It has been raining here a crazy amount, and so I didn't want to die on the drive, but I took some pictures that we can throw out there. I love Libby. This is Happy's Inn. Will, do you want to tell us about that? Because I've actually never stepped foot inside it. I just drive by and
Well, there's nothing. I mean, it's just kind of weird. It's basically from Kalispell to Libya is 100
there's
miles.
nothing of nothing.
Yeah, there's just nothing out there except this little. Um, there's a. It's kind of a convenience store bar. I think that one has a restaurant, or maybe it's the one on the other side of the road. There's two of them on each side of the road, and this one, that flag, I see that day it wasn't real windy, but that flag is huge when the wind is blowing. Um, but yeah, it's just kind of a stopping point because there's nothing else between Kalispell and Libby, so everyone stops there. I'm not sure how it got the name, but apparently everyone's happy when they get there.
Yeah, exactly. Um, so also, I mean, these pictures aren't great. Like I said, it was raining quite a bit. I tried my best. But the thing that I love about Libby is that it's called the City of Eagles. And they have like eagle statues and carvings everywhere. So that's kind of fun. This is the hotel that I stay at, the Venture Motor Inn. You'll note it says on the sign that it has Libby's only indoor pool. And I'm a big fan of that area. We go to the hot tub quite often. I was going to post a picture of that, but Will told me that it might scare some people. Um, so I didn't include that, but that is where I stay. I don't even know if there's anywhere else to stay in Libby. And then every time I've been there, we've eaten dinner at the brewery, which is cool and good food. And then I've also gone to the movie theater the last few times I've been there, and I'm obsessed with this movie theater. It's just tiny and old, and I love it. Then you
Doesn't
can
that
also,
describe the whole town?
yeah, pretty much, and I love it. It's so fun. But it was just like gross weather. We've mentioned this before, but it has been raining for like a week straight, and so all that rain on top of all the snow, just everything's like melting. It was a pain to drive in. There are puddles everywhere. Like not like they're more significant than just a normal puddle. So it's been kind of gross. But yeah.
So, do you, Hillary, know the backstory of Libby? Have I told you what's happened there?
Retell me.
All right. So, Libby had a big mine in town, and for a long time, and they were mining vermiculite, which, and this is the part I'm going to sound stupid here because I don't know if asbestos is in vermiculite or it's a byproduct, or I don't know. Um, but anyway, the whole city was contaminated. It's a really sad deal. A lot of people got that I forget the disease in your lungs that you get from asbestos. Mesothelioma, maybe.
Yeah.
But anyway, yeah, and they obviously the mine shut down, but while the mine was going, they were putting that vermiculite in the insulation of homes. They put it on the school track. They put it, I mean, all over town. So the entire town was labeled a Superfund site, and they went in and cleaned it. And there's still an EPA office downtown where you can, I've sold a few places up there, and you can go in and give them the address, and they'll tell you exactly what they did to that particular house.
Mm.
And some houses they had to totally gut. Other houses, it was just like out in the yard, and they dug up the yard. But I mean, they spent millions and millions of dollars cleaning it up. But it's like everything, it's probably the safest place in Montana now that they've gone through every inch of that place with a fine-tooth comb and cleaned everything up. So we still get people that are concerned about it, but I mean, Hillary can tell you it's a thriving town at the moment. They're selling a lot of stuff there. I mean, it's a beautiful area.
It is. I was going to say we've been before and gone to like Kootenai Falls and done more outdoor stuff there, but that was not what this weekend was at all. But yeah, I like
Yeah,
that.
that's another. I did a video on that. I forget. You'd have to look back, but I did the video on Libby and Troy, and I stopped at Kootenai Falls, and that is pretty wild. And they've filmed what couple movies there. I know for sure that wasn't a River Wild. Wasn't that the biggest one? And then I think they did that other one a few years ago, The Remnant,
Oh yeah,
Revenant, or whatever.
Revenant. Yeah.
I did not see that movie, but I heard they filmed those falls there. They're pretty crazy. It'd be.
Yeah, you're
Can't
right. I
believe
just Googled it and it came right up.
I can't believe that they actually sent rafts down those falls. Whether it's a movie or not, I don't think I'd want to do that.
Yeah, I wouldn't either. Huh, that's interesting. I guess I didn't know that was where it was filmed. But yeah, it's very cool out there. There's a museum, like right when you drive into town, that I'm dying to go to. I don't know what's there, but
Well, just so you can tell everyone the reason you go to Libby all the time.
oh, well, my fiance is an attorney, and so he works in that court, and so he drives down there every Monday. And so I've started going with him sometimes or meeting him down there because it's just fun. It's like a little staycation at the Venture Inn.
The Venture Inn. Maybe you should call them and see if they'll sponsor you on these live videos.
No, I seriously love it there. We bought so my fiance's brother, Liam, has pet ducks, and we joke that his yard is like a bird sanctuary because like random chickens will show up in his yard because they want the duck food. So there are just like a lot of birds there. And so actually the last time we were in Libby, we got him like this handmade ceramic bird that we found, and he has it hanging on his fence. A little piece of Libby.
There you go. Have you guys ever gone further on up to Troy, or just to the falls?
Just to the falls. I've been to Troy. I mean, I've been through Troy. I haven't spent like a significant amount of time there, though.
Yeah, there's not. I mean, kind of like Libby. There's not a lot going on there. It's
Yeah.
It's smaller than Libby. But again, that whole area is beautiful. I went up. I looked at a piece of property in what's the name of that town, Heron, which is almost to the Idaho border, and then I came back through. There's a lake between Heron and Libby, or Heron and Troy, called Bull Lake, I think, and just gorgeous area. I had never been on that road before, and it was kind of like, wow. I mean, that's the cool thing about Montana, is you're always stumbling upon new places that don't get a lot of publicity.
Yeah.
So The other thing we did was that last week or the week before, they had a dog sledding race, kind of north of Whitefish, and we went over to that. And I'm trying to put a video together on that'll come out soon. So we won't give you any photos or anything, but maybe Hillary could give us her thoughts on that outing.
It was really fun. It was interesting. I was like super excited to go. And it just reminded me, I said this to Will when we were there, it reminded me of being like at a, like, if you've ever run a 5K or 10K or, marathon, whatever, it felt like that. Like they have the big, spot where everybody starts and it's just like all the people with their dogs like hanging around. Like it's not super exciting. It's just like a lot of barking dogs. But it was cool. It was interesting to talk. We talked to some of the mushers there with their dogs. And I mean, they were telling us about how long it takes them to race. And I was surprised by how long they're out there. But again, anticlimactic. I mean, you watch them go and then they can be out for like 30 minutes. So then it's just you hanging out and then you go back and wait for the finish line. But I mean, it's very cool. It was wild.
Yeah, I think they had, was it 6? The biggest one or the longest one was 6 dogs, and that they went, didn't they say 18 miles?
Yeah, I think.
Yeah, so we're always looking for, new ideas for videos, and so that's why I drug Hillary out there that morning. I don't think she was a big fan of getting up early to go to a dog sled race, but once we got there, it wasn't bad. So
no, it was fun. It was cool.
So yeah, and other than that, we've had a bunch of people that we met on here on our channel that have bought places, and we've had a few closings over the last week. So we have people in town right now that are proud new owners of pieces of land or houses or everything. So we're going to go visit some of them tomorrow. And yeah, so that's kind of what we've been up to. And then we are we are both leaving Montana next week. We're going to a conference down in San Diego that is a social media conference, YouTube and all the rest of the stuff. So Hillary can up her game a little bit. She was begging to go to this thing. So
yeah,
that's what we're doing. So we will be in San Diego next week, but the timing worked out perfect because in 2 weeks we'll be back right here doing this all over again. Hopefully with a bunch of new ideas that we learn at this conference. So with that, if you guys have questions, go ahead and start firing away. We can start going through these. Our friend Dwayne is here from Edmonton again. Thanks, Dwayne. You seem to be a regular viewer.
Hi, Dwayne.
Sounds like what I've heard about Butte, comparing Libby. Yeah, Butte and Libby are they're kind of a lot alike in some ways. Butte's a lot bigger, but Butte
we should
is very
go to Butte for St. Patrick's Day.
What's that?
We should go to Butte for St. Patrick's Day.
Yeah.
And make a video.
Yeah, that would, I don't know if we would probably have to beep out every other, sentence and blur out scenes on the screen. Butte is quite the place for St. Patrick's Day, and but the big bar, that the main most famous bar there, just burnt down, called the M&M bar. I just saw a picture on social media somewhere recently where the lady, whoever took the picture, it's just an empty, they've cleaned it out and totally tore it down. So it's just a big hole in the ground right now. And I'm assuming they're going to build a new one, but I don't know. But Butte is an interesting place, a lot of history. It used to be the richest town in the United States back, I'm not sure what year, but there was a lot of money there. So it would probably
There are a lot of really cool houses in Butte.
yeah, all the mining stuff, and probably would be a good road trip to go to Butte someday. I'm having, I don't know why my background is acting weird, but sorry about that. What else? Do you want to start flipping through these? I'm having a hard time.
Yes.
There you go. They like
Nice photos of the eagles. The eagles are cool. And I wish I knew the story on that. I heard that like somebody in the town just had a son that was into carving those eagles, and that's why they're everywhere. I don't know. I need to figure that out, but they're cool. They're all over. But anyway, nice photos of the eagles. As we are new to Montana this past year, I appreciate learning about the different areas of the state. We're looking forward to exploring it more and more. That has definitely been, I don't know, something that I love about living here is there's just so many places to go. I love driving all over. Everywhere here is
well, luckily for Hillary, when she first started working with me, we had to drive about 1,000 miles the first 3 weeks, I think, showing property. So
yeah, we really did. But yeah, we do like to get out. It's a good thing about here. It's like, yes, even if it's a little bit busy on this hike or in this area, you can always drive not very far and find something completely remote and different. I'm so happy I found your channel. We followed your advice. We put an offer in on a house and won. Nice. Anything you can tell me about Great Falls?
You have not been there yet, have you?
I haven't.
There is a bar there.
Oh, I know about this bar with the mermaid.
The Sip and Dip, yep.
Oh, I'm dying to go there.
Yeah, that if all of you guys out there listening, Google the Sip and Dip bar, and I'm sure they have a website. And just look at the pictures. Talk about stepping back in time. So it's this bar attached to a hotel, but you go downstairs to this bar, and then the whole, behind the actual bar itself is a window that looks into a pool. And then they have these these ladies, these mermaid they call them, that sit and dive and swim around behind the bar all night while you're sitting there having a beer. It's kind of classic. And then they had
It's
a
like
lady that played an organ. There was an organ in there, and she played music on the organ. But I believe, well, I'm almost positive she passed away in the past year or so because it was a big deal because she was so famous for her music at the Sip and Dip. But yeah, there another thing you got to do if you're ever in Great Falls, Montana. So what else?
Oops. How strict are building codes in different parts of Montana, and are they the same across the state?
They're not strict at all, especially in our area. And I don't believe, I mean, you have state and national codes as far as some things, but as the counties are a little different in how much they require and demand. I know around here you just have to get a inspection for electrical and plumbing, and then the rest of it is the contractor doing it. So kind of good and bad, like everything. If you have a lot of people don't like a whole bunch of rules, but sometimes rules are good. So you have to be careful if you're buying a house, because if the guy building it was, I like to call him Joe Home Depot, that goes and buys a book and decides to build his own house or addition to a house. We see a lot of crazy houses where you can tell that somebody just went wild and started adding on rooms in random spots. It's like there's no flow. It's kind of a maze in the house, and you can tell, oh, looks like somebody decided to do it themselves. So that's my rant on building codes around here.
Yeah, not very strict. which is a good thing and a bad thing.
He must be talking about the river runs through it movie. Tammy loves Libby as well. What else?
Same.
It's November 2022, the first election which Montana has 2 House seats, or is it later? I believe it's this coming election. Do you know this?
I am like 90% sure it is.
Yeah, because after the last census, we've got enough new citizens here in Montana that they gave us another electoral vote or another seat in the House. So yeah, right now we only have 3 electoral votes, so it's 2 senators and 1 representative. So yeah, I think this coming November we'll have 2 representatives. So that'll be interesting. Please do more videos talking about what to think about when building your own house. The 2-part video was very good and informative with that. Oh, that's Andy and Wendy.
Oh, nice.
You've never, yeah, Hillary's not been to that house. That house really turned out well.
Yes, I have.
Well, when we went on that, yeah, but you didn't go in.
Okay.
Yeah, that was good. Let me know what I missed. I'm trying to figure out what, I guess I could do a different house, but I tried to cover everything they went through and cover everything you guys need to think about or anybody needs to think about when you're building a house. But yeah, if you have any, we're always looking for ideas for new videos. Let me tell you, it's been a year.
Literally always. He is wanting ideas.
Yeah, so feel free to chime in with any ideas you may have. How would you compare the weather and scenery in Great Falls to Whitefish? Would you consider Great Falls windier, I'm guessing? Yes, Great Falls is very windy. And compared to Whitefish, we don't get half the wind you get in Great Falls, or they get in Great Falls. And Great Falls is kind of out on the prairie a little bit. You can see the mountains from there, but you're not in the mountains where Whitefish is in the mountains. And with the weather, I've talked about this before, we're way warmer on this side of the mountains. We kind of get the Seattle flow. We get a lot of snow, a lot of rain this time of year. So they get much colder over there. And yeah, it's 2 totally different climates, that's for sure. Let's see. Hi from Arkansas City, Kansas. I plan to move to Missoula in a few years. Thank you for all the insights. All right.
Awesome.
Here we go. A Canadian checking in from Lloydminster, Saskatchewan. My family and I are wanting to move to Montana hopefully soon. Hillary, have you ever driven up? You probably not. We drove back to Minnesota one year. We went up straight north of here and then went all the way across Canada. So went all the way through Saskatchewan. And then when we got up basically to Lake Superior, we cut down into Minnesota. But that was I didn't think about it. I mean, this was, again, me being dumb. I didn't think it would add that much time to our trip, but it basically added a full day because you're going all the way up and then all the way back down. But it was cool. It was something different, something to see. But yeah, Saskatchewan was a lot like North Dakota. It's pretty wide open, and I'll let Hillary tell the joke about the dog running away because she gets annoyed when I do it.
I don't even know if I can remember it now.
All right.
Kill it. I think I've tuned
You can watch
it
your
out.
dog run away for 3 days.
Oh, yeah.
Hello to both of you. Any general thoughts on Belgrade and the growth over the next couple of years? How about the noise from the airport? Belgrade is growing. It's probably one of the fastest growing towns in Montana because they're getting all the overflow from Bozeman, and Bozeman's getting, the prices are getting crazy. And so everyone's, moving out of Bozeman and over to Belgrade. And, the airport thing, it's kind of like anywhere. It just depends on how close. I mean, Belgrade's spreading out a lot. So depending on where you are, will determine how noisy the airport is, and obviously flight patterns and all of that. So, but yeah, Belgrade is growing, and I don't see it slowing down anytime soon. But it's a nice area. I'll let you answer this one, Hillary. Where did it go?
What's it like up near Eureka? I love Eureka. It is super beautiful. It's still very small. I think, I don't know, it kind of reminds me of Libby in that way. Like there's not a ton to do. There is outside. We try to go and do hikes and stuff like that out there in the summer. I just showed a house there not too long ago, and it just feels like no neighbors. You're looking right at the Canadian Rockies. It's super beautiful. So I love Eureka. We actually have clients that just bought property in Kalispell, drove out to Eureka for the first time a couple days ago, and they like fell in love with it. Now they want to get something out there. So it's pretty.
Yeah,
I like it.
It's warm up there too, warmer than here.
Yeah. Yeah, like there was no snow when I was there not too long ago.
Yeah. And then you're only when you're in Eureka, you're only like 40 minutes, maybe, if that, from Fernie, British Columbia. So when the borders, it seems like everything's kind of opening back up now and getting back to normal. So, yeah, it's a quick drive up to Fernie, and that's a cool little, it's kind of like Whitefish, cool little town, and you can go get your Tim Hortons and be happy. What else? Oh, here's another one for you.
All the time, and it rocks. I mean, it depends on where you live. My first house when I moved here backed up to a ton of trees, and so I had like a skunk in my backyard that I got really excited about. I had a deer give birth. And so there were 2 baby deer that just grew up in my yard because they were too small to get over the fence. So that was, one of the best things that's ever happened to me. Yeah, there's a ton of wildlife. And I always get excited about it, and Will thinks it's strange.
Well, here's why, because Will has spent thousands of dollars over the years replacing landscaping in our yard. We live right in town in Whitefish, and there's so many deer here, and they just destroy everything. And because of that, I'm not a big fan of the deer. And
I will say I'm also right in town. Everywhere I've lived has been in town, and there are so many deer, and I always liked them, and it never bothered me until I got my wiener dog, and he would run outside and run up to them, and they weren't scared of each other, and so he would be sniffing them, and it was like, okay, this is a little bit too close. And then I started Googling things, and there were videos of deer stomping dogs, and so then I got really scared. And it was like, I need to get rid of these deer. But yeah, I mean, I love it. You do see deer all the time. That's the thing you see the most. But I mean, we've got a little bit of everything. Just kind of depends on where you go. But
I was so annoyed. So I planted a tree last summer or last spring, and I protected it all year and watered it. And it was a nice maple tree. And then I was like, cool, finally, so I've got something to work. And then in the fall last year, I go out one morning because I looked at the tree and it looked weird. And a deer had, when they get the velvet on their horns, so a male deer, they scrape it off. And so they use that tree to do it. And they ripped the bark, they basically girdled the tree by tearing the bark off by, rubbing their antlers all over it. And so now once again, there's another $100 down the toilet because of the deer.
They ruin everything, but I do love them.
They just need to stay out of town in the woods where they belong. Let's see. How are the home prices in Trout Creek with Waterview? I don't have that pulled up right now. If you want to, should we put our clicker up here? If
Oh
you
yeah,
guys,
good.
let me get that up. If you guys want information that we're not saying or talking about, there's our email down below. I can send you the prices right now. The prices in Trout Creek, I do know, are going up like everywhere else, especially if you're near the water, can see the water. So yeah, it's a million variables go into that. So for me to say, yeah, they're 300,000 or I don't know. So I'd be happy to send you everything that's available in Trout Creek right now, and you could see the exact prices.
You missed one. Why are all the ranches and farmlands about $500,000 or more?
All right, there you go, Hillary.
I mean, I would just say that is supply and demand. It's what people are willing to pay for it. Everything has gone up in price. We get a lot of people, it seems like, that ask about buying land and are shocked about how expensive it is, or tell us that they want to buy something for a certain amount. And it's just, I mean, it might have been possible at one time, but everything has just gotten very expensive here.
That is correct. Looking to move to Montana in the next year or so. Any comments on winters and summers, Montana? I enjoy watching you.
You can answer that, Will.
Oh,
Didn't you live there?
yes, actually, good call. That was our very first house when we moved up here, was in Summers, Montana. The winters the whole valley here is pretty similar. When you get down right on the lake like that, it definitely is warmer. On the east side of the lake, Flathead Lake, they have cherry orchards all over, so that will tell you a little something about the climate. You cannot grow those trees up in Whitefish, which is only about 25 miles north of the lake. So there is a little bit of a microclimate around the lake, and it definitely is warmer along the lake, but it's not like there's palm trees down there and you're golfing in the winter where you're not up north. So yeah, they're not bad. They're not harsh, if that's what you want to know.
I don't know that I've ever been to Summers in the winter, but I love it in the summer.
Well, yes, you have. You drove right through Summers on the way to Lakeside a few weeks ago.
Well, I've like driven through it, but I mean, like, I haven't gone to Dell's or like.
Well, yeah,
Dell's is a really fun restaurant / bar, but they have bingo. They probably have it in the winter too, but they have it on the patio in the summer, and it's a real treat.
I have not done that. Did they get rid of the miniature golf course they had back there?
No, it's still back there.
Okay, that's the only thing I've done at Dell's. Showcase Kalispell. If you look back, I did a video on Kalispell not too long ago. So you can watch that. If you have any specific questions, fire away. Here's one for you, Hillary.
No. I do not. The question was, do you carry bear spray when showing houses? That has not been necessary yet, but bear spray is real and you do have to carry it. So we just carried it when we went cross country skiing last week because it was so warm. It was like, God, the bear spray out.
Deborah, how well are the mortgage lenders, title companies, appraisers keeping up with the home sales? They're actually doing quite well. The people we've worked with, we haven't had any major delays from anybody. I mean, we have occasional hiccups like everybody does, but that happened long before this was going on. So yeah, it hasn't been bad at all. Please talk about more ranch and farmland. I don't know what what you want me to say. I did, again, if you want to go back in our channel, I did a video about ranch land. There is a couple different websites that come in handy for that. And I kind of went over that on the videos. So
And
again,
you can also send us an email and we can send you, the land that's available. And then if you have specific questions from there, just let us know.
yep. Here you go. I'll let Hillary answer this one because she's her big debut video that she did back last fall about the Yellowstone Ranch, or the TV show where they portray the Yellowstone Ranch. We went right through Hamilton.
Yes, we did. And I have something that I would like to say so I can clear my name. I'm confusing the two. So part of the video, we go through Darby. I love Darby. It's so cute.
Now, I know where you're going with this, and I don't think you should go there.
Well, all right. Should I really not say it? Now I have to, or it's weird. We were driving, and Will was out the window, taking his video, and he didn't stop at a pedestrian crosswalk. And somebody called him out on it in the comments, but because I was the one narrating it, they said that it was me. But I just want everyone to know that it wasn't me; it was Will. But no, Hamilton's great. We just opened an
Hillary
office
may be fibbing a little bit
out there. And so we have agents that are super specialized in that area. So if you have, specific questions, let us know, and we can get that information for you. But Hamilton's beautiful. I feel like it's becoming really popular. It's right by where the Yellowstone Ranch is. I haven't spent a ton of time there, so I'm sorry I'm not super helpful.
Well, if you'd like, since you fired me under the bus, we could discuss what you did this past fall.
What?
Don't you remember the joke I was going to play on you with my friend that I play hockey with? That's a sheriff.
I don't care if you tell.
Oh, that's all right. I won't do that to you.
Okay.
Let's just let the record show that I'm a much better and more cautious person than Hillary when it comes to driving.
Okay.
Are rising interest rates going to do anything to property prices there? How leveraged are most of the buyers you encounter? That is a great question. I don't believe, well, let me rephrase that. Of course, interest rates going up are going to slow things down. I don't think our prices are going to plummet. I've been saying this for months and months. But now we're actually seeing evidence that is going to happen here sooner rather than later. But how leveraged are most of the buyers? Shockingly, and I don't know, I've never seen this many cash buyers. So they're not leveraged at all if they're paying cash. So I guess that's my answer to that. But the rising interest rates are probably going to slow things down a little bit. But the difference here, compared to, let's say, Omaha, Nebraska, we've been discovered and everybody wants to live in the mountains because it's great here. Whereas Omaha, don't they pay people to move there?
All right. That's where I grew up, so this is just a nice little jab at me.
Let's see. Thanks so much for putting up with my questions. See you in May. We'll enjoy San Diego. All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, here you go. You got a new friend. Oh, you just clicked on at the same time.
I know, I clicked it too. Glad to hear Hillary is a Doxy. We have too many Dachshunds. They're the best. Oh, this reminds me. There are Dachshund races in Lakeside, I think. And I thought of this when we went to the dog sled racing. I've been dying to go. I couldn't take my dog because he hates other dogs. He like loves people, but he wouldn't be able to deal with it. But yeah, in Lakeside, Montana, there are dachshund races, and I will go and we will make a video about it. But
Well, I think you should enter your dog.
no, he would bite the other dogs.
Well, I mean, whatever you got to do to win.
I know. But just another, they might do that everywhere. I don't know. I had not heard of that until I moved to Montana. But that was just about the best thing I'd ever heard.
Well, I think you should start training your dog like right after this show's over and get him entered.
Yeah, my dog's a little obese.
Well, even more reason. Do you feel, this is another good question, do you feel that some people who recently moved to Montana will put their home up for sale after the long, cold winter? I have seen evidence of that.
I don't know. I mean, I can't tell. We're getting more listings, but we don't really know that that's the reason.
Yeah, well, yeah, like the last 2 years after all the Rona stuff, there was nothing. But lately, there again, for those of you interested, and if you want, a list sent to you, there's been more and more listings that come on the market every day. We're seeing like 20 now, where it used to be 2.
Yeah.
And I have to believe that, yes, there are people definitely tapping out, because this winter was a lot worse than last by a mile. Last winter was by far the mildest winter I've ever experienced, and I've been here 20 years now, 21 years. But this one was more, more like a real winter. So I definitely think that, yes, not everybody that's listing their house is sick of the winters, but I guarantee some people are, because what happens, a lot of people come up here in July and August and September and think, oh my God, this is the greatest place on the planet, because it's 75, 80 degrees every day without a cloud in the sky and no humidity and no bugs, and it's perfect. And then they don't think about what it might be like in January, and they decide they want to move here, and they're a little shocked at the difference.
Yeah, I mean, I think even at the beginning of this winter, like around Christmas time, it looked like so picturesque, blue skies and the snow's falling, and it looks like you're in a snow globe. And it's like, yeah, that's beautiful, but that is not how it is. I mean, it's not like that all the time. So I think that people also expect it to be more like a Colorado, where, it's winter, but it's pretty and the sky's blue, and they forget that we have a lot of overcast days. And yeah.
Well, in the cold, the difference this year was we had 2. I always tell people that are looking around up here, we normally get 1 week, or not even a full week, but
Where
during
it's,
1 week
yeah,
of the summer, there's 3 or 4 days where it's like, it's cold, it's below zero cold. But this year we had 2 of those. And who was it? There's somebody we showed houses to, or they were here. Unfortunately, they came out both times, and both times they came out, it was the bitter cold. And so I kind of got called out on, I thought this only happens once a winter. Well, it normally does, but this winter it happened twice.
twice this winter.
And so that's why I think a lot of, I think some of these people are tapping out, because, think about it. If you're moving up here from
Texas.
yeah,
Or
the
California. Yeah.
southern US, that 10 below zero and a little bit of wind is going to be quite a shock to your system.
Yes.
So, well, if you look at the next comments, Hillary, they're all going off what you said, even though what you said is incorrect.
No.
Let's see. Are you seeing a lot of private equity investors, BlackRock, buying up properties, or are they mostly genuine home buyers who want to live there? I have not seen. I've heard stories. We're on a bunch of different groups online with agents all over the country, and I hear agents talking about that in some of the bigger cities that this BlackRock is buying up, and I've read articles that they're buying up properties to use for their rentals and you know, creating a giant pool of rentals. I have not seen them up here. That's not to say they haven't. I just have not heard of it. I haven't seen any articles on it. I haven't heard of them up here at all. Most of the people are, genuine home buyers. There are people that are buying, investment type properties just because rentals are so hard to find right now that it's a good investment. So, if you're gonna, as Hillary's run into lately with some of the people she's been working with, you're in a multiple offer situation almost every time. So
Yes.
Are people pretty accepting of other ethnicities, Asians, looking between Whitefish and Flathead Lake? We've other people have brought this up in other videos, and neither one of us have seen an issue. It's not to say there isn't the random bad guy. There's bad people everywhere, but in general, I would have to say, yes, people are accepting around here.
I would agree.
Most likely making the move from Summit County, Utah. Hoping to buy next year. I have a job lined up. Just need to find a rental. Will more become available in the spring? That's always been the issue, Eric. Rentals are very difficult. So the sooner you can get on that and find something, the better. It's just they're building new apartment complexes, new condo complexes all over, but a lot of them aren't done yet. They're building houses all over, but yeah, rentals are still a challenge. I don't know if more become available in the spring. I know they go quicker in the spring because that's when everybody wants to be here, is during the summer.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I'll just say this because it always comes up. We in Montana, in a lot of states, rentals are on the MLS, and so realtors have access to all the rentals. Well, here in Montana, we do not. Rentals are not on our MLS, so I know as much as you do, Eric, about how many rentals are available right now because we don't have access to them. And unfortunately, I say this again, if anybody's out there looking to create their own job and you're kind of a tech person, there is no central location to find rentals. It's a very gigantic pain in the butt because let's say you're looking in Kalispell, you have to Google Kalispell rentals, and then 5 or 6 companies will come up. Well, then you have to go to each one of their website and scroll through the properties they have because each company manages a different set of properties, and then they all want you to apply, and it's just a nightmare. So if somebody needs to do this and figure out, I'm sure there's a way to make money off of it, but there is no central place here in Montana to find rentals. So that's my rant of the day. I'll let you take this one.
This question may be out of your wheelhouse, but what plans are there to assist employers with staffing when the cost of housing, even apartments, are so high? I don't know what plans there are at this point. I mean, this is like the big discussion. It seems like it's all anyone is talking about, and we know that we need affordable housing. I know they've talked about doing like employee housing, but I don't know of any like concrete plans that they have at this point. Do you, Will?
No, there's nothing that I know of either that
I mean, we're aware that it's an issue and I know it's being talked about, but I don't know what is going to be done.
Yeah, a lot of people, a lot of these business owners are kind of thinking out of the box, or they're buying. I've heard a couple places in Whitefish, the business owners bought a big house and they're, housing
Mm,
people in it, or, you know, yeah, that is a huge issue here right now.
yeah.
And there's many layers to that, and the whole affordable housing thing and workforce housing thing, and it's a tough it's a tough thing, and I don't know if there's a definitive answer, or if anyone's figured it out, because it's definitely an issue here right now. And I guess the easy solution, or what a lot of employers are doing, is they're paying a lot more money than they used to. I've seen ads for, like, McDonald's is offering like $20 an hour or something, just
Hmm.
because, for people to afford it up here, they got to pay more. Otherwise, I don't know where they're gonna, how they're gonna live or pay rent or find a place. So, taxes. Does Montana assess property value and adjust property taxes the full sale price, or is there a slower step up? You know what? I'm not even going to pretend that I can answer that. I know that they assess your taxes on the value of the property. How they come up with the exact, kind of like anything with government, you need a degree in MIT to figure out the tax code. I just had a guy the other day that he was looking at buying a house in a subdivision here, and he was going to build. Well, it was actually a new build house, and so he wanted to know what his taxes were going to be in the future. So I sent him 4 other places that were already built in the subdivision. It's a newer subdivision, so they were only built a couple years ago. So a lot of places hadn't even been assessed yet. It was still, the taxes that were on the website were still just for land only. But anyway, I found 3 houses that they had assessed. Well, it made no sense. I mean, the one that had the biggest house had the cheapest property, and then the other one, or the cheapest tax, and then the other one was the biggest lot. And but it wasn't a lot bigger than the other one. It was like 2.7 acres compared to 2.4, but yet those taxes were by far the highest taxes. So again, how they figure that out, I'm not even going to pretend to understand where they come up with these numbers, because it makes no sense. So I hope that
Does that
that
answer your
doesn't answer your question.
question? We missed one from Zippy Zip. Is there still dog sledding in Only? Yes, that is where we went.
Well, what he might mean is, I told Hillary while we were at the dog sled races that you can actually go, and we did this when our daughter was young.
Oh,
In Only, you can go to a place and they'll take you for a dog sledding ride. And it was pretty cool. And yes,
yeah,
they
there
still
was
have that.
definitely.
I've
I don't
seen
know.
that guy. Have you seen that guy in town? He'll park his truck downtown that has all the dogs hanging out of it.
Yeah, I was gonna say it like the Christmas stroll and the winter carnival and all that stuff. There's always this one guy that you see, and he's got the cutest little setup, and all the dog heads just poke out, and you can go up and pet them. But yeah, I feel like I always throw that out there when people ask, "What do you do in the winter if you don't ski?" And I say you can go dog sledding, and I've never done it, but I mean, it is definitely a thing that you can do here. I know that I don't know if it's in Only, but there are a couple operations that I think you can.
Well, here you go, Hillary. Since this is your old hometown, I'll give this one to you.
How would you compare Montana winter to a Midwest Chicago winter? I think that winters here are so much better. Chicago winters are terrible. You have to walk everywhere. The wind hurts your face. Um, it just is, it's not as bitter cold here, and we don't have that wind. Um, So yeah, I thought that was interesting. I remember when I moved here, that was always everybody's first thing. Like, oh, how are you going to survive? It's going to be so cold. It's like we're in Chicago. It's terrible, just during the winter. But yeah, I think it's not as bad here because we don't have the wind,
Yep.
and it's not. It just does not feel as bitter cold.
All right. My partner and I spent a week in Helena in November and loved the mountains, nearby hiking, and awesome people. But Helena is all we saw. Any suggestions for other towns? You know what? Anything in Western Montana. If you liked Helena, you're gonna like Kalispell. You're gonna Glacier Park is awesome. Maybe Hillary would argue with me on this. I think Glacier, and I'm not just saying this because we live here, but I think Glacier's much prettier and nicer than Yellowstone.
I
Um,
agree.
I don't after living here and spending and seeing so much of Glacier Park, I don't know. I mean, yes, we don't have the geysers, but other than that, I don't, you know, if you're into watching water shoot out of the ground, then Yellowstone's your spot. But if you're into, you know, grander mountains and just spectacular scenery, then Glacier, I think, blows Yellowstone away. But that's just my 2 cents.
I agree.
There was another one. Oh, here's a good question. If a property is currently under contract and someone still put in an offer, how does this work? The answer is yes. Usually it'll say right in the MLS that it'll say under contract accepting backup offers. But even if it doesn't say that, if we're working for you or anybody and you tell us to put in an offer, then we will put in an offer. Whether or not anything happens with it, that's another thing. If it is under contract, let's say, it's under contract for 400,000 and you come in and offer, $5 million, they can't back out of that other deal. Once they're under contract, it's it's got to play out until somebody until it either closes or somebody, screws up and misses a date. But that's what we tell everybody. If you're going to buy something, if you're looking to buy something, um, you need to get it tied up because there's 100 ways for you as the buyer to get out of the deal if you find something you don't like, but the seller can't. They are locked in unless you as the buyer miss a date or, back out. So hope that answers your question.
And I always say I think that sometimes that feels like it's not worth it. But I got my house on a backup offer, and this was after I was told, it's probably not worth it. There are no contingencies. Like this is a cash deal. But I mean, fine, you can do it. And we did it. And sure enough, some fluke thing happened. I don't even know what it was, but that's how we got this house. So I think that if you really want something, then it's worth it. It doesn't always work out, but why not?
Yeah, I agree. And there's a million things that can happen. So,
Mhm.
I mean, like we always say in this business, until it actually closes, it's not, nothing's a done deal until it closes. There's a million things that can come up or go wrong, or who knows what can
Yeah.
happen. But yeah, if you really like something, it doesn't hurt. And like I tell everybody, it doesn't cost anything to make an offer. Um, if it ends up not working out, then any kind of earnest money or whatever you get back, and it costs a little bit of time, but it doesn't cost any money to make an offer. This one, Central Washington are trying to be introduced for affordable housing, yet there's no land. Huh. Yeah, I don't know what the answer is. Um, it's a hard one, and it's just because we're in such demand right now. So hopefully we'll get it figured out. Thinking moving to Montana in June, but your thought about winter lows being brutal for people from the south are eye-opening. Locals told us about the one frozen week a year, and that sounds doable. It that this was it's normally on this side of the state. I will say it's one, a few days each year. This year it happened to be two different times. So, um, like Hillary said a minute ago, in the grand scheme of things, even this winter compared to a Chicago or Minneapolis, something like that, is still nothing like those winters. So, let's see. So legal to carry a shotgun everywhere you go. Well, yes, if it's, out in the open, you can carry a shotgun if you feel the need. You can't go into schools or federal buildings or courthouses, but you see them in the back of people's cars, and a lot of people hunt here, so it's not a big deal. I don't see many people carrying them around, but that's that would be up to you. People would look at you kind of funny. I haven't seen Hillary doesn't usually carry her shotgun around with her.
Not usually.
How's the well water in Montana? I was told Wyoming water isn't good. Well, I know Montana water is great. That's not to say you can't have, a shallow well that has some issues, but in all the years I've been doing real estate, I've run into, I think, one well that, and it was a shallow one that we did a water test on it, and it came back. They had to shock the well and do whatever they do. But no, in general, the well water here is great. In fact, in our valley, some guy's trying to do a bottled water plant, and we could spend an hour talking about that whole deal. But obviously the water's good enough for him to sell, so it is good.
Where are the bears most active in Montana, and when do they come out of hibernation? I mean, I would say if you're talking like grizzlies in the park, we have some town bears. Not so much grizzlies. And then they come out of hibernation. I don't know. I mean, it seems like the spring. I guess I don't really know, but that's why, like I just said, we went to Glacier a few weekends ago and went cross country skiing. And just because it was so warm, it was like they might be up. So we brought our bear spray. But in the summertime,
I think people that don't live here are more freaked out, and they think that we have bears like around every corner. But like I said earlier, I've lived here 21 years and I've seen 5 maybe in the wild. I've never seen any well, I did see one in town. Yeah, there was one in our yard. It was a little black bear cub.
I see them in people's yards. I saw one last summer. I posted it on our Instagram. There was a black bear baby and his mama in my friend's tree, which is so funny. I forget that they've climbed trees. They're so cute. But it seems like I see people posting pictures all the time of bears in their yards and like on their porches. And I'm always like, why can this not happen to me?
Yeah.
But again,
it's more about grizzlies. People are freaked out that, grizzlies are roaming the neighborhood and plucking people off, and that
they're not. You see them in Glacier. I feel like I've seen 5.
Yeah, maybe that was a little low. Let's say 10.
Yeah.
But again, I don't want to see one up close, just like anybody. If you guys are interested, I wrote a blog post about this a few years ago. We got within about 30 yards of one, and it was a little disturbing. had to, pull out and take the safety off the bear spray because it was that close and it was coming towards us. But that was an interesting story, and I'll have to post that I'll have Hillary post the link somewhere some point. But so yeah, anyway, we've kind of hit the bottom, I think, and we've hit our hour mark. So I think do you have anything left to say?
I do not. I like what Hoxie said here. It's good, simple living with really friendly people and beautiful scenery. Sums it up.
Apparently he did not meet you.
Wow. Oh boy.
All right. Well, with that bad joke, we will cut it off, and we will see everybody in 2 weeks. And again, if you guys want the listings or any other information, our email's been at the bottom. So get a hold of us anytime, and we will plan on seeing everybody in 2 weeks. Thanks for tuning in.
Bye.